Oceanborn, as we've loaded into it at this point within the bottom right. Spawning as our red Zerg player playing for Team Talon. It is Dark.
And his opponent in the top left, the man who has made the biggest upset so far of the tournament, representing Mystery Gaming, it is Cyan.
EVT rank 27, it's 570 points. Beautiful purple sweater. God, what a gangster. He's not scouting. This is what we wanted to see. You know, last night I was laying in bed.
Next.
Sorry?
Yes, Nexus first even. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, what? Really? But this guy's so cool. Last night I was laying in bed and I was thinking to myself about Cyan. You know, I was just... Because I was so happy about it. I was just going through the Liquipedia seeing what matches we had tomorrow. I saw we had Cyan twice. Oh god, you know, because the first day I looked at the matches we had, and I saw on the second day I was like, oh, we have Cyan twice in the second block, and I wasn't really looking forward to it. You know, I like Cyan as a player and he's a cool guy, but I wasn't super excited to see him play against Dark or against Showtime or against Maru for that matter. But then last night I was laying in bed, I was thinking to myself, man, Firefly's builds against Serral were good. I feel like, I don't know why, but I had this feeling that Firefly and Cyan, in my mind, they're friends. And they speak to each other about strategies. And they have like a different approach to the game, but I value both of them as like smart Protoss players that know where their strengths and know where their weaknesses are. And I was just thinking, what in the world could Cyan do to take out Dark? And I was thinking, one of the things that Cyan actually could do to take out Dark is to play very greedy in the first 4 minutes. And then often Dark will all-in that as kind of a response. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but he'll do it anyway. And then you just defend the all-in. And that is one of the ways that I was thinking how a worse Protoss player can beat Dark. Is that Dark just likes to all-in. So you are very greedy in the first 4 minutes. And then boom. That's when you have, like, you basically peak very early with your unit count. That's what I was thinking of. I think would be cool. And now we see Cyan opening up with... Was this a complete no scout? No, it was a very late scout. Nexus first. I think this Nexus went down at 18. He's now going to go for a Zealot in the wall, as well as a double gate. He's going to be having a great time here.
Yeah, this is against 15 edge. So Dark actually tried to play it super safe, trying to forego getting blocked, which wasn't the case at all here, obviously. And Cyan actually going for double chrono on Adept as well. So he's going to try to put some pressure on in the meantime, while Dark went for 3 queens right away, which is theoretically very good against double chrono Adept. So that's not too great for Cyan here because of how far the creep will be forward from the initial creep tumor and the early hatch, plus the 3rd queen already being out. That means that the 2 adepts shouldn't really do that much. He's actually getting 2 more adepts. I think this will be some delayed glaive stuff, possibly. Like where you start with a lot of adepts and then maybe you throw it on the Twilight after.
Oh my god, Lambo. That is a ridiculous call. Do you remember I used to play this build a lot? And you remember I once played it against you in an IEM Katowice qualifier.
I don't remember this one.
Yeah, it was on this weird map. The same map that Tefl lost to MVP on.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. Did Tefl lose to MVP in Legacy?
No, but
right?
I think it was like a remake of the map or something. Or the map looked alike. Maybe it wasn't the same map. I just remember playing you on that map, and I was playing this exact build. I was so happy with it, man. This is so sick. Over with Nexus first. Then you get like 6 to 8 adepts or so. And then you get 3 more gates or 2 more gates. And then, boom, you push again. And you just kind of keep pushing. You have your initial push with like 4 to 6 adepts. Then your next push with like 14 adepts and glaives. And then you get immortals and more adepts. And you just keep pushing again and again with like new waves of units. It almost feels like a campaign mission, except, you know, the Protoss is the AI, and for once the AI manages to win. It feels freaking strong. Dark here, by the way, with double gas already, has lost 5 workers, 6 workers total, and has killed 4 adepts. Who's this good for?
I would say usually for Dark. However, this was a good start to an opener for Cyan, and this is a super confusing build order. If you're Dark and you see there's already a 3rd base, and the other guy just sacked his adepts, if he didn't get the Overlord Scout, I would have never guessed that this was if Glaives with a War Prism.
Yeah.
Thankfully for him, he went behind the main base and he's getting the Lucky Scout.
Yeah.
I mean, he might just all in this as well.
Yeah, I think he is.
But that would actually be good for him, no?
For who? Cyan or Dark?
for Dark. I think this is very dead to a Roach Ravager.
Really? With 4 gates?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think the adept count is pretty decent already. And if you don't lose the adepts here aggressively, and you start an Immortal after the Ops, there's a battery already? I don't know. I don't feel that bad about it, but I honestly have never, or haven't played a particular build like quite like this in a very, very long time, so I'm not entirely sure about the specifics here. We're not going to have to see it because Dark is droning up, is going to get a lair as well. So I'd be surprised if he still commits to a Roach all-in, right? That'd be kind of odd.
It would be very odd. I mean, the lair not so much because you need to get a lair
sure.
in case of DTs.
Yeah.
But he droned too far, too all-in. It is Dark though, and he usually doesn't really play by the rules. So if he wants to all-in, he can still all-in.
Yeah,
because it's Dark. Cyan actually not taking a forest gas as well. So I think that Cyan is actually the one who wants to be aggressive here, which I'm not sure how that matches up against Dark, because Dark usually likes to rather overproduce units than underproduce.
A couple of drones are being taken out. That's 6 workers going down practically instantly. Neat drop there. Overlord lacking out of Dark. That is just sloppiness, pure sloppiness. There was no reason for there not to be an Overlord. And every reason for there to be an Overlord. So you know there's going to be a Prism out. That's the second Immortal that just popped, by the way. And all of those worker kills, they are going to force Dark to get a couple more drones out. Dark hasn't started a 4th base yet. As we now see the Evo chamber going down. Dark probably wants to drone up to at least 66. Ideally. Can he just survive this while going up to 66 drones, Lambo?
I'm afraid he can. I think this looks like a defensive all-in to me almost from Cyan. He's now taking up and getting extra gateways. So this won't hit at all together with his timing. So he won't exactly have the optimal unit count. He had an optimal unit count to defend because he was on such a low gateway count at first. But now it's not the optimal gateway count to attack with. So instead he's just pressuring, he's shading in. He doesn't know what we knew. Yeah, he doesn't know. You don't have that much vision on the adept shade. So if he had finished that one, there could have been some serious issues here for Dark, because he could have shaded into the main base with everything else, which is exactly what he's doing now. He's actually shading on top of the Ravagers, and he's going to try to focus fire them. I'm not sure about this shade, as the Immortals are left to just fire at the Queens. The Adepts at the bottom are just firing at a Ravager. He's now trying to shade past his units. I would have much preferred... Oh no, the Warp Prism died. There was warping in new Adepts. If the 4 Adepts would have went into the mineral line, I would have really liked it for Cyan, but now most of the drones survived. He kills 9 workers, loses his entire army. He's banking a lot still. I think Dark's gonna counter-attack, and it will be kind of hard to hold for Cyan.
Yeah, it does have 8 gates though. I guess there are no... No, there's just 1 Immortal still alive, or a new Immortal that has been built. Charge loss, or Zell is just now warping in. There's no charge yet, so that seems kind of weird. Would have preferred seeing some Stalkers there, as extra batteries being added in. Don't forget that this was Dark on 3 bases, so if you keep your Immortals and your Prism alive, and you kill this amount of workers, you're actually in a really sick spot here. And yeah, those 4 Adepts that ended up attacking like a Ravager and half an Extractor, or actually non-Extractor, just a Ravager, I guess. If they would have been shooting drones, it could have dealt even more damage here. Even now, though, Cyan for now is holding. Battery is about to finish up. These piles are somewhat connecting with that battery, as the next warping is going to be absolutely vital here. 2 Immortals still alive, microing away from the battery. Super battery does get started in the net. Another warping over at the 3rd base. 3rd Immortal pops. The first one has died. There's still only 2 remaining. +1 has finished as well here for Cyan. Cyan is blinking back at the 3rd. This is a tricky position to micro, because Dark just has control of that area in between the natural and the 3rd, and that might just be the downfall here of our Chinese Protoss player. He's gonna blink out, stands, no, dodges those biles. Probes being pulled off the line here as well. 79 supply to 134. 12 probes do go down, and there's 1 Immortal remaining. But that one is about to be sniped as well. Dark with some stellar control here on that Roach Ravager army. And I do believe he's going to be capable of getting the win here on Oceanborn after that failed Adept Immortal push.
Yeah, barely though. Like, this is very close. He's barely winning. He's like barely above 100 supply, so... man, I wish he controlled the Adepts a little bit better. And the War Prism and the Immortals. There was a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
I'm also not entirely sure why he worked in Zealots, because I guess he just wanted them as buffer. The Zealots didn't really attack ever.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that... I realized he only has 3 gas, so... He wanted to balance out his gas income, but he could have worked in the depths. Those are at least good against a couple of Zerglings that are here.
Yeah, and they at least get to deal some damage, because these Zealots are just going to get kited for a bit.
Yeah.
This just wasn't ideal. Let's see. Dark here is going to pick up this first game. This was super close, though. This really was. There were multiple moments here where it felt like if Cyan would have just done X or Y a tiny bit better, could have had the W. I like what he played. He definitely has something prepared. And this is the type of build that you're going to play once. I don't think you can actually repeat this particular one, because it is very confusing for the Zerg, but the second time they're going to be a bit less confused. So I'm curious to see what else he has planned here for this series. That is going to be an interesting one. Dark so far, though, with a clean win, clean victory, has only dropped a map, a single map, right, so far in this tournament?
Yep, single map. I think the most difficult opponents for him still coming, though. He has Drainer and Maru left in the group, so that doesn't really mean much that he only dropped the 1 map so far. Still obviously good, since he already beat Hero in Showtime. It's not exactly an easy group, so...
Yeah.
Impressive from him so far. But that game was super winnable for Cyan. Like, I don't even think... Yeah, as you said, he just needs to do a single thing better. Either shade the 4 adepts in there. Even if he keeps the War Prism alive and loads up the 2 Immortals, I think he holds that easily.
Yeah.
And then we see a macro game where Dark is down in workers. Because he can't kill him there. What actually is the most likely outcome is that Dark attacks anyways, because he thinks, okay, he killed my drones, but I killed all of his units, so let's go, let's get going. And then Cyan defends it, and he's extremely far ahead, so... a little bit sad there about the execution.
Yeah,
part.
me too. But, you know, maybe he's still just warming up. This was a throwaway build anyway.
Throwaway
build.
just
Cheeky throwaway build. You just want to get out of his system. You know, you sometimes have that.
Yeah, he actually just tested. He thought of something before that game, and he was like, you know what, let me test this really quick. For Oceanborn, really not feeling it on that map anyways.
Exactly. This map is practically unwinnable. Let me just try this crap. And I mean, I appreciate that. It was actually a cool build, though. I wonder... Dark is not much of a 12 pooler in this matchup, right? I wonder if Cyan's going to have the balls to just play Nexus first again or no scout every single time.
Of course he does. He's Cyan. Come on.
Do you really think so?
I think he's going to block once and then go no scout again. But if this is a 3-game series, I could see him just no scouting again. I really don't think Dark is going to 12 put him.
I think so either.
Which is easy to say because now I can see that he makes a drone, but...
Yeah. The one thing that Dark could do is like a proxy hatch, because he likes proxy hatching also against players that he considers inferior, which again, I think Dark considers most players to be inferior.
I think it's not the case anymore. He doesn't do that stuff as much. It used to be back in the day where he
No,
would
I saw him
also,
do
like,
it last week.
12.
Proxy hatch, I can't recall who.
Yeah, but come on, in the EPT Cup, it's not the same. Sometimes when he plays the EPT weeklies, he also just literally pull first roaches every single game against Terran. And I know that he doesn't think that that's a good idea, or that he doesn't do that because he thinks his opponents are weak. So yeah, Cyan's going for the block in game 2. This is exactly what I thought. Like, you go no scout game 1, then you go block game 2, and game 3 you do a no scout again. This is my prediction.
So he's gonna pop his probe over there towards the 3rd, make sure that there's a hatch there, and then just goes home. Doesn't believe in harassing workers. I appreciate this.
He actually makes the Nexus and then goes back to block the 3rd base.
Really?
Watch this. I think he makes the Nexus, Cybercore, and he goes back to block the 3rd base. This is my call here. Because then he saves mineral. He saves minerals by not sending down a worker from the main base.
Yeah, but the Zerg also saves minerals.
Yeah, I agree. But his builds are very tight. I don't think you understand. You're not Cyan, mate.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I doubt him. I can't recall the last time I took a map of Maru. This guy destroyed him yesterday. Time to sit down. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you're right. This is tight. Yeah, this is very tight. And he also mined 5 minerals between the Nexus and the core. So when he returns, that actually is a genius. This is a genius move. He actually is much smarter than the average Protoss player. Which, not sure how high that's putting the bar, but we have, let's see, Pool finishing up for Dark. If Dark were to do something special on this map, in this setup, what would it be? Like something fun, something interesting.
No, he does reactive all-ins a lot. Like, he does random Ling Bane all-ins, he does random Queen drop all-ins. he will see something and then he will think, okay, this might be killable, or he will see something and then he supply blocked and then he thinks might as well all in. This is usually how Dark's games go. He has not the cleanest macro in the early game, and then he decides, depending on what exactly is going on, what he wants to do.
Look at how intelligent Cyan is here. Sends the adapt back home to let the shade finish. It's small things like this. Stats didn't do it earlier today and cost him.
Yeah, it cost him big time actually.
Yeah.
There's no downside at doing this whatsoever.
Sorry? Yeah, there's no downside. Yeah. One of the things I actually even prefer is moving out with the adept to one of the sides where the links might be, and then shading the other side. So then the Zerg, you know, they absolutely don't know where you are, and they're afraid of going to the other side with the links as well. So if you go hunting for links, that's also good. Cyan actually finished that adept shade, killed one link, took a lot of hull damage though. Second adept now shows up. There's not enough drones here. Or sorry, not enough drones, not enough links here. At the same time though, Ling run by taking out 3 probes on the other side of the map. Dark with some stellar control there on those links is gonna get a 4th one. Yep, gonna get a 4th probe. And that is not a very good look here for Cyan.
Yeah, that is a big, I mean, that's a big error from Cyan. The thing is, as a Zerg, why I don't really like these run bys is if the Protoss controls correctly, you just lose the Zerglings. And you don't have any at home, which he also didn't have. So you lose drones at home, and most of the time you don't get anything done on the other side of the map, but in this case it was the exact opposite. Because he was distracted and because he lost too much HP early or too much shields on the first adept. He actually gets counter damage done, defends perfectly at home, now also kills the 2 adepts on the other side, and this is a disaster of an early game for Cyan.
Yeah, now I do have a question for you, Lambo. Do you think all the damage that Dark dealt here in the early game is undone by the fact that the scouting probe went back home and the mineral saved there? You think that still has an impact on the game?
I mean, I want to be sarcastic here, but I will not do it just in case someone will misunderstand me. So no, obviously, killing the drones is killing the probes is much more significant than the 20 minerals that he saved by going back with the probe.
All right. He's always got to make this type of stuff clear. Because people might look at it and think to themselves, oh, earlier you did go home with the probe, saved about 15 minerals. Now losing 4 probes, sure, that's 200 minerals, a bit of mining time. Not ideal, perhaps, but how big of a deal is it really? Dark, I think, had a bit of a supply block, or at least decided to build 4 overlords at once. So that's going to make life a little bit better there for Cyan. Actually, quite a bit better there for Cyan. Forge and Twilight on the way as well behind it. How many oracles do we have? We have 3.
3.
Yeah.
The game is even again, just like that, because Dark just macroed poorly.
Yeah.
It also might not seem like a big deal because you don't see immediate feedback from Zerg being supply blocked like that, but that was a huge supply block. It was a missed macro, and all of a sudden he's back in it. Basically, all of the good moves that he made so far are negated by his macro. I still think he's in a slightly good position, but it's not overwhelmingly good for him anymore, which it was before his macro error.
Yeah. You know, I'm a little disappointed here by Cyan, because he scouted the Evo chamber with his oracles, had Forge plus Twilight. I'd say, why don't we get Charge and +1 here rather than Blink? It feels like any type of Blink attack is going to be so late anyway. You're going to be playing against a very heavy Link style. There's a lot of Links out already. You know that's going to be +1 melee as well. I feel like this is... I'm not a huge fan of the Blink here. I really much would have preferred seeing Charge.
Same, 100%. Although I think Cyan is a Colossus player, and that's why he's playing no matter what.
Yeah, it's difficult to transition into Colossus from Charge lots. Yeah,
so he's going Blink. I think if he was going Colossus, he should really start his gases at his third base. He's trying to deny the hatchery. He should even be able to take that fight against the Queens. Now not anymore. He decides to instead go for the hatchery, and I think he should be able to get it. Cancel. There is a cancel.
Nice move.
Nice move, especially against a very Ling-heavy unit composition, which is what Dark is going for. He's even going into quick ultras, by the way. This is very important because Dark will lack the larva, but all these stalkers are exposed before Blinkers, and all these stalkers will go down together with the Nexus. The moment Dark realizes, okay, the orbits are on the map, he sees if he can do something with the Zerglings, and he just hit the absolute jackpot at Cyan's fourth base. That was a disaster. That was even worse than the initially losing 4 workers, because this is not an acceptable loss.
Yeah, it really isn't. As Yeah, 3 hatches going down. This Dark is triple expanding right now. Second Evo chamber on the way, as you mentioned, as well as a hive and baling nest. Dark is just gonna tech into ultras here. And it feels like the first ultras are gonna pop at around the same time as the first Colossus will. Although I'm not even entirely sure Cyan's gonna survive until that point. He just has such a tiny army. These Lynx have +1, there are loads of them. Energy on Oracles is surprisingly low as well. Like, this is actually very scary. For 2 reasons here for Cyan. He can't move his oracles across the map, because if he does, then the Lynx will just go in and start surrounding units. You can't transfer any probes over. But if you don't scout, you have no clue what's really coming for you. And Cyan seems to be fairly unaware of what is going on. Hasn't even scouted that there's a lair quite yet, although I'm sure that he managed to figure that one out at this point. He's now gonna try to move on the map with these Stalkers. This is gonna be tricky, Lambo.
It is definitely going to be tricky. After he lost it into Stalkers, it's looking very rough for him, but he's still going to try his best. The move out with the Stalkers should be fine. He's close enough to his own fort base. He only saw Zerglings so far, and I know that Dark has played this style before. He has also played Muta in the past, but if this is Muta, let's be real, he's already dead. The Mutas would arrive right now. So I think if he can put 1 and 1 together, this kind of has to be Ultras. Because I haven't seen Dark really play Ling into Lurker too often. And as I said, he has played this in the past, also on the same map. It's a very open map. It's probably one of the better Ultra maps out there. So, I mean, the thing is, he will scout now with the Oracles. The moment he sees there's a gas missing and as a hive, it's obviously not Lurkers, because then you would have all the gas. Why is the hive done? It's for early Ultras. So by quick thinking, he can already tell for sure that it is Ultras just from the scout, but he's blinking into the Zerglings around from Dark and he's recalling. A lot of Stalkers left behind. And Dark's just gaining a massive supply lead, which is not supposed to be the case actually in this matchup. If you're attacking up as a Zerg, you're not supposed to just be up 50 supply while you're going into Hive as well. He's starting 2 Vipers. I'm fairly certain that this is because he's smelling some blood here. Because otherwise he would have just made the Ultras first. But I think he's just going to try to attack now. The moment these Vipers have 2 Abducts. And I absolutely agree with him. I think it's a fantastic choice here from Dark, where Cyan is still trying to get up Colossus. Colossus are not even good against Ultras, so...
Yeah. Colossus actually suck at this point. So hard. Once the first Ultras hit, even without Ultras. Do we have Thermal Lens yet? Okay, we do have Thermal, that is something at least. We only have a single Colossus. They're going to be good against the Lynx, but that's all these Colossus are going to be good against. There's no Baneling speed, and that actually is helping Cyan quite a bit, because if there were like 25 Banelings in the mix as well, that would be even harder here for Cyan to survive. Although this Zealot run-by is actually doing a lot of work. Cyan believes he can push out on the map. He is absolutely wrong in that belief. This is the last thing that Cyan can do right now. Cyan can build walls. He can set up 15 cannons at his fort base. These are plays that might have some potential, but being out in the middle of the map right now is not a serious play. Double abducts going down, roaches in the back taking out the Colossus, and that is all your tech units there. I don't think Dark minded losing a bunch of supply there, because it allows him to start building those Ultras, and he'd rather get those sooner than later, while the Immortal count still is low on the Protoss side of things. And currently, it is extremely low on the Protoss side of things, because there's 0 Immortals out. First one starting just now, Anabolic Synthesis being researched as well. That is the Ultra Speed off Creep that gets increased. As another Zealot run by, it's gonna probably just charge into a couple of Banelings, because Dark is very well set up over here.
Yeah, Cyan is now making all the right moves, because he realizes what position he's in. Before, he was basically playing in all-in unit composition. He wanted to push with Stalker Colossus, which is obviously impossible after the early game that he's had. He split the Zealots nicely, so he's trading well with it. For now, the name of the game for him is let's buy time, let's get a big Immortal Archon army. That's what he needs to do. He can move out a little bit with the Stalkers, because there's no Infestors yet, but he needs to make sure that he doesn't overextend whatsoever. Preferably, I would even like to see him add a couple of gateways at the front, just for walling's sake. Because I think the moment Dark's upgrades finish and he actually engages fully together with Blinding Clouds and the Ultras that he has, that Cyan's army is not very good against what Dark has here whatsoever. He's actually morphing 28 Banelings without Baneling speed, so that really is nice for Cyan as well, who's getting Storm up right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Storm's going to be there in time, but if it is, that's going to be huge. And even Colossus against Banelings without speed are pretty okay, as long as you can feed back those Vipers. Could be somewhat fine. Immortal count is still too low. Stalkers ahead of the army. This is not a mistake. This is the correct play. You can always blink them back. Vipers trying to come in here. Oracles are alive. Should probably activate. to try and deal a little bit of damage. Massive blinding clouds here hitting the entire Protoss force as feedbacks do go down. Lots of workers will end up falling here, but can Cyan survive? That is the question that we have on our minds right now. To me, it seems like that answer is going to be yes. Lynx will enter his natural. There is no cannon or a battery in the mineral line. 26 probes will go down already. 30 probes will go down as a recall is going to save the natural. Lots of gas in the bank. Rebuild the assimilator. Maybe go back up to 60 workers or so and try to max out. I think that is the only viable path here for Cyan.
100%, yeah. He needs to max out on a higher immortal icon count. It's also what he's trying to do. And he's struggling right now with defending these +3 adrenaline glands links, which can kill workers very fast. See, just like that. A lot more workers go down. He's now back down to below 40 workers. And Dark is just relentless with his aggression, now also hitting at the front, where Cyan oversplit his units. This is not a great fight for Dark, you would think, but without any overcharge energy. I mean, Dark just needs to basically keep Cyan from maxing out. So any trade where he kills some units and some probes is a good trade for Dark at this point, who's severely outmining Cyan and who's just ready to go again.
Yes, sir. Here we go once more. Vipers running in forward. Abduct. Ultras and Roaches are probably gonna do the job here. There's a couple Archers going down. Another Baneling run by, trying to get in towards the naturals. Not gonna connect with anything except buildings and half a Stalker. But honestly, it's just gonna be good enough here for Dark. Dark is up about 70 supply. It's getting more Ultras in the mix. There's no 8 gas yet. Hell, even the 7th gas isn't mining right now for Cyan. Even the 1st and the 2nd gas aren't. Cyan is practically on 4 gases right now. So he's not gonna get a lot of that. Lynx run by once more in towards the natural. Ultras joining in this party as well. And I think Cyan is dead here. And he believes so too. GG gets called as Dark is going to take this series with a clean 2-0 score.